we need to have a serious conversation. I am not sure where to begin. I don't have a script. I have a heart. I have this awareness that we need change and that things aren't working the way that they could. Our culture is I'm having difficulty finding the words to describe our culture and the deep disconnection. Excuse me. The deep disconnectedness that we have from our bodies, the incredible shame that so many of us have in terms of our bodies, in terms of our relationship with our bodies, in terms of our relationships with each other's bodies, in terms of how we understand and interact with women and men and people that are gender diverse and trans and people that don't participate in the binary gender system that is imposed or forced onto us before we're even born. The ideas that people have about who we're going to be, how we're going to live, how we're going to love, how we're going to marry, or even the assumption that marriage is going to be a priority for us, which all of these were put onto me. I remember one of the teachers that I really looked up to right before high school graduation put us through this visualization, and she said it was going to be the best day of our lives, which I had lots of ideas about what the best day of my life would be, but I did not think that it would be my hypothetical wedding day. And I've never had a wedding at this point in my life. And her making that assumption and like kind of placing it into our brains in that vulnerable student-teacher relationship felt like a complicated and problematic assumption to put onto us. I think about the ethics and the power dynamics around social issues and around our relationships with our bodies, with our bodily functions, the shame around things like burping and farting, and also the potential for humor and playfulness. And excuse me, this burp could inspire a love song. This burp could inspire a love song. I am lonely. I Believe in the transformative power of love. I believe in sexual rights and responsibilities. Everybody burps and farts and poo. Poo. Poo, 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 poo. I will not shame you for your poo. I believe in poophoria. 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 Would you like to join me in poophoria? What is poophoria? Is poophoria a place that we can access in Pootopia? Is poophoria a feeling? Is it a sensation in our bodies, in our hearts, in our spirit? Do we have a spirit? I want to find love. I've been lonely for a number of years. I've been looking for love and meaningful connection for years, and it's been phenomenally difficult to find a heart-based, serious connection and I'm not monogamous. I know that the limitations of monogamy are too restrictive for me to feel alive. I've had some incredible partners that have wanted monogamy, and I know that loving them would have been beautiful and magical, and that I would have been unhappy because I have this relational abundance, this loving abundance that I want to share with the universe in a way that is not possible under the structure of monogamy. And I don't want to suggest that there's only one way for us to love. However, I know that for myself, I need to have the space to connect with my heart, with my senses, with my spirituality, sensuality, with multiple people. And I don't think that that is any less serious. I don't think that it's any more casual to have multiple partners if there is a commitment to communication, trust, presence, and boundaries. It is possible to love multiple people abundantly, just as somebody could have more than one cat or more than one dog, and it doesn't mean that they love the cats or the dogs any less. And obviously there's differences between loving cats and dogs and loving humans. But I think that there's this energy, and it doesn't take away from our love for one when we also love somebody else. And I'm opening myself up to the universe and hoping to find love, and hoping to change how we think about love, how we think about our rights and responsibilities to each other and to ourselves. To reflect on the current state of disconnectedness with ourselves and each other. I attempted to connect to the internet with this. I need to return it to the company because I wasn't able to connect because I didn't have the hardware to connect the, I don't know, is this a modem or a router or both? I'm not sure. I'm not particularly aware of how the internet works. Yesterday I was asking somebody what to search for on the internet with a very specific result in mind, but my question was very vague. And unfortunately, on the internet you can find some really messed up stuff, some really concerning, disturbing, harmful things. And on the internet, there is horrifying content. And I don't really want to talk about that. What I'm hoping to do is provide an alternative that is nourishing, that is connecting, that is healing and transformative and modeling a different way to love ourselves, a different way to heal from our past pain, which is something that I'm in the process of doing. I have experienced a lot of messed up stuff, and I don't really want to get into it in this moment beyond saying that I have some deep wounds, and I don't think that I'm alone in that. I unfortunately think most of us have so much pain that it's overwhelming, and I don't think that we have the capacity and skills to process the overwhelming trauma that is happening in the world right now. Our brains have not yet evolved to process the information that is accessible online, the amount of suffering that is happening. Unfortunately, I think we become numb to all the messed up stuff because I'm a highly sensitive person, and I feel myself becoming numb, and I don't want to be numb. I want to feel connected and loved, and it's been a very long time since I've really felt like that in terms of close emotional intimacy. And I am hoping to find that. And I think about the sexual ethics of speaking about love, speaking about pleasure, speaking about loneliness and mental health, and the potential for transformation, and addressing and hopefully resolving the orgasm gap, which is something that I believe we can do together, something that we have a voice, we have a body, we have sexual rights and responsibilities, and we can speak up, and we can make this world a better place with our words, with our actions, with our bodies. It doesn't need to be like this. And I know that so many of us have been trying to do this for so many years, and I hope that we can change the world with love, change the world with how we communicate, with how we touch, with how we listen, with how we empathize. I don't want us to live in so much pain, in so much fear, that we're maybe afraid to put ourselves out there. I want to invite the universe on a choose your own adventure journey of reimagining how we nourish ourselves, how we practice holistic health, how we practice pleasure, and how we connect with our bodies, with nature, with nourishing our holistic health. And sometimes I think about this as a scientist, which I really struggled with science when I was a student. That was my worst subject. And the way that it was, I don't know exactly what it was, but I really struggled with that subject in a way that I didn't with math. Math, I could pick up the patterns, but the scientific patterns, I wasn't able to pick up in the same way. But now I realize the patterns, at least some of them, around science. And I've been thinking about how we love ourselves and how we F ourselves as a science and an art. And maybe the scientific approach isn't for all of us. Maybe the creative, artistic approach is for some of us. I never used to think of myself as an artist or as creative. That's something that's actually quite a recent development in my life. And I'm so grateful to be connecting with myself as an artist and as someone who can be creative and playful. I didn't understand the value of creativity, even though I studied play and recreation and leisure. There was something missing in really valuing creativity and play. And I'm excited about this opportunity because there is so much potential for transformation when we break out of the traditional choreographies and scripts that we have about love and pleasure and what it is to make love, what it is to make fuck is so deeply restrictive and exclusive in a way that has supported the orgasm gap being as large as it is. If we opened our hearts and our minds and our bodies to creative scripts and choreographies that don't follow the traditional scripts and choreographies that we see in mainstream movies and porn, what could pleasure look like? What could love look like? There are infinite possibilities for how to love ourselves. There are infinite possibilities of how to fuck ourselves. Would you like to join me on a choose your own adventure in being intentional with fucking ourselves, with loving ourselves, with experimenting and exploring the infinite possibilities? Would you like to would you like to play? Would you like to experiment? Everything is optional. Consent is essential. And we can stop at any time, and we don't need to have a reason. We can just do what we need to do to take care of ourselves and to nourish ourselves. So, yeah, that is my invitation. Wow. Just trying to. Okay. I'm going to get some fruit. Would you like to get some fruit?